Hey guys, welcome to week 2. So in this video, I'm going to just close up on a few things from last week and then give you a heads up about some of the things to come in this week's unit. So let's talk about last week. Most everyone did a wonderful job of jumping in. Excellent job on the discussion boards, connecting with one another. Obviously made much easier since you guys had your time in the face-to-face course. Most everybody completed the welcome letter and their course outline. Wonderful job on both of those pieces. You know, in general, the 2 points of feedback we had on the welcome letter, I'll just share with you here, and most everybody did a phenomenal job of this, is really just being warm, bringing yourself into the letter. It's one of the things I think Pat and Anna touched on a little bit, and I'll keep touching on through our time here, is it's so easy in an online course to pull yourself out of it. It's much easier to focus on the content in this environment. And that's one of the keys of teaching online, is how to personally relate with your students, how to make yourself more human in their eyes. And so we want to start doing that as soon as we can in the beginning of the new course. And the welcome letter is really that first chance to do it. So many of you really hit the nail on the head. Oh, can you hear? I'm in North Carolina right now, and the birds are out in full force. So please excuse their beautiful singing. So most of you hit that beautifully and really provided an incredibly warm welcome for your students. And again, that's going to build relatedness. And what I've found for myself is the more related I am to my students, the more likely they are to, one, treat me with respect, and two, reach out when they have any struggles or challenges in the course. So again, this is a great framework that we're laying down here in this first week. So let's just talk about grades and feedback and what that paradigm looks like. So I will have grades finished, everyone's welcome letter and course outline. I'll have feedback provided by tonight, by Monday night. And so the way that this will work, a little different than you will likely do in your own courses, I'll provide you feedback as a comment on your blog, and that way everyone can benefit from seeing my feedback. So you can jump into each other's blogs and if you'd like to look, be able to again benefit from the feedback I'm giving. And then inside your grade book is where you'll see your grade. That's typically where I leave feedback if we were in a traditional course setting. But again, because of the class that we're in here and because of this workshop, I'll leave that feedback in a public place so everyone can benefit. So one thing I just want to clue you off to inside of your grade book when you go check your grades is you'll be able to view the rubric that I've built into Blackboard. So Blackboard has this amazing rubric feature and that's what I'm using for you guys. And so you can click on your grade and see your grade and what you earned against the rubric. This is a really wonderful tool, and I urge you guys to read up a little bit more about using rubrics in Blackboard on your own. It is tremendously helpful in one, saving you time when you're grading, and then two, your students are able to view your feedback and their work against that rubric, which saves a ton of time in answering questions about grades. So why did I get that grade? Oh, well, they can click on the rubric, pop it open, and see really specifically where they lost points. So a really powerful tool. It's one of my favorite features of Blackboard and one of my kind of secret tricks to stay really efficient as an online instructor. So jump in there and take a look at those, and so you can kind of get a sense of what that looks like on the student side. It's something that's not a feature that's very easy to see inherently in Blackboard. So it's something when I begin my semester, I share with my students, just like I'm doing with you now, how to go about finding that rubric feedback. So just something to consider. You may want to do that for yourself in your own courses. Okay, let's take a look at my list here. Okay, one more thing about grading. There are some of you that I've set up special arrangements with about completing work for last week, and this will go for the rest of our time together as well. When I go through and grade, I'll grade as everything is right now with what I have. So for those of you that I've set up a special arrangement with, you'll see a 0 in the grade book until you fulfill on your end of our agreement. So again, for those of you where that's in place, don't freak out. You'll see that 0 until you end up sending me your work and I go back in to grade it. Okay? So I think that's it for grades. And for last week, let's talk about this coming unit, Unit 2. There's really just two things I want to give you a heads up about. The first one is we have a special discussion board this week that doesn't follow the same date convention that we used last week. So this discussion board is a closing discussion. It'll come at the end of this week, and the first post is due on Friday, and the second post is due no later than Saturday. This is a little untraditional, and I would recommend, as you're considering and you're building out your courses, keeping things like discussion boards due on the same day each week. That consistency is really helpful to students. So in my personal courses, our first post is due on Wednesday and the follow-up post is due on Friday. Now, again, we're in a non-traditional setting in this course. This is more of a workshop, if you will, and so it's a little different. The structure is a little different, but just something to give you a heads up about as you're going through and particularly reading through this week's summary, and as you see those dates, it might feel a little odd, and it is. So just a little heads up about that. And then the second thing is you guys will be working later in the week on building and creating learning objectives. And I just want to give you a quick heads up about some of the pitfalls that other people run into when they're working on this portion of this course. So a learning objective, you want to have it be, think of it more in a broad sense. So for example, a learning objective that I may have for this course is that participants are able to warmly welcome and personably welcome new students into their course. So that would be a learning objective. And then activities that I could build to fulfill on that learning objective could be creating the welcome letter. That would be an activity that would feed into that. Creating a welcome video, that would feed into it. For me personally, in my courses, I do a video call with my students at the beginning of every semester. It takes a long time right at the beginning, but I do them in groups of 4 or 5 students just to build that relatedness. So again, the distinction here is that a learning objective is something that's more overarching, and it is activity independent, such that you can create different activities that feed into that learning objective, which also means you can change the activities to better suit the learning objective as you get more skilled in this space. So just a little distinction there as you get in there. You really, you'll know that you're a little bit in trouble if your learning objective resembles an activity, and if you wanted to change the activity down the road, you'd have to change your learning objective. That'll be a good clue that you're a little off there, and you're going to want to retool your learning objective a little bit. All right, guys, so that is it. I hope you have a beautiful week. If there's anything I can do to support you, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I will see you in Blackboard. Have a great day. Bye-bye.